women know how to deal with men is through their fathers. Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. The hardest thing you ever have to deal with in a relationship is a woman with daddy issues. I agree 3 times.
Yeah, Jack. All right, I am interviewing Larry Mims, a.k.a. No Limit Larry, a.k.a. No Beasley. And we are talking about being a father. Larry, how old were you when you had your first kid?
18.
Were you scared when it happened?
Well, actually, my first child, I was 16, but unfortunately he passed away.
Oh.
So now but to answer your question, yes, I was scared as hell.
So what did you do when you found out?
I guess my first reaction was like, wow. I mean, am I having a baby? Then it was like, is this baby mine? You know, cause you're young. You know, everybody, you know, you doing your thing and she doing her thing. And, you know, your first reaction is really, is this my kid? Has she been truthful to me? Has she been seeing other guys? And, you know. And I was just scared.
You stupid. Were you and the mom in a relationship or were y'all just kicking it?
No, we was in a relationship. We actually was together for like 3.5 years. She was like my high school sweetheart. But at the same time, you know, nobody's stupid. You know, we know people do cheat. Stuff does happen. So, like I said, my first reaction was, is the baby mine?
Did you actually say that to her?
Yes, on a couple arguments, I think I did. That ain't my baby anyway.
Oh, no, see, I think that's where a lot of young boys go initially is, it's not my baby. But like you... okay, Peanut Gallery. The first thing that, you know, comes to mind is I need to find a way out of this. Yeah. Is that what it was for you?
That's what it was, because you begin to realize, okay, you start to think, okay, well, everything that I had planned in my life is over because I got to stop what I'm doing and I got to raise this other person. So, like you said, you're trying to find a way out. So, you know, if it's not my baby, then I don't have to do anything. But, you know, in reality, you've been participating in the activities to make the baby.
So, at what point did you go ahead and say, okay, it's my baby, I'm going to do the right thing?
Hold up.
So, what made you finally man up and take care of your responsibilities?
Well, even before we even got to the stage of, you know, getting to showing and having a baby, I just decided, you know, that it'd be best for me to, you know, take care of my responsibility. So I just manned up and said, well, like I said, I was participating in the activities to make the baby. So just like they say, you do the crime, you do the time.
So how did she react when you said, you know, it's not my baby anyway?
Like any other black female. Okay, you want to take it like that? All right. She tried to cut me. I mean, you know how y'all do. But,
wait a minute.
She was not pleased by it, of course. But like I said, it was during the argument. You know, I was young then, so.
So, were you at the hospital when the baby was born?
Yes, I was.
And what was that experience like for you?
Oh, man, it was, I don't want to be like cliches, but it was life-changing seeing another life come into the world. And then, you know, knowing that you helped create this life. So it's like, it's like a double feeling. It's like excitement, but, anxiety at the same time because, you know, you got to take care of it now. It's like, okay, it's here now. And I really got to, you know, I got to get in here and learn how to change diapers. I got to be here when they first walk, when they first talk, when they first open their eyes. And, you know, it's life-changing for you.
So, you know, a lot of young guys, when I see this in child support court a lot of times, their first reaction was like yours, run and deny. How do you tell them to step up to the plate? Like, what type of advice would you have for them?
If you really feel like, well, this is not my child, you know, there's ways that you can go really see if it's your child. If you really want to feel like, you know, this is not your child, then I would say, you know, well, go get a test. Then if the test comes back positive, then you got to man up and take care of your responsibility. A lot of cats, you know, they live out here in the streets or whatever, or they do their things in the streets, and they know the consequences that come with, you know, with dealing and being in the streets, such as if I'm out here and I'm dealing these packages and I don't have my money for the man, you know what come with that. So it's the same thing. If you go out here and you get a girl pregnant, then you know what come with that. You gotta man up and take care of it. So it's the same way.
But what, like we were talking earlier before I started recording about how a lot of men don't have male role models, so they don't know how to be a father. What do you tell them are the steps to being a good father?
Don't be like the person that wasn't in your life. That was my main thing. I was like, okay, well, my dad, he was around me. He was kind of around, but he really wasn't around. And I just remember times like, you know, when I was playing football, and I used to always look in the stands, and my mom was there, my sister and my brother was there, but my dad wasn't there. And I remember, you know, who taught me how to play football was my brothers and guys in the neighborhood. Well, I didn't want my kid to be that person. And I look at, you know, I look at athletes now, and they always thank their mama. I always wanted my kids or whatever to be like, well, you know, well, my dad, or thank my dad, you know, or thank my mom and my dad. So that was my whole thing.
The bad part about it is, you have to be the person that your mom didn't have. Like, you have to see everything your mom went through.
WPEG,
It's like you see everything that your mom had to go through, and you see what those spots that were empty. Like, you see those voids that were left in her life, and that pretty much, when people say a woman can't raise a man, no, she can't raise a man, but you can see the gaps in her life. You can see where a man would have been useful. You can see where she could have been helped out, or the shoulder she needed to cry on. And as you grow older, you become that shoulder. But then you learn how to be a good man from being able to stand up for your family as a whole, not just your kids, but standing up for your grandma, for your auntie. Because the thing about it, these people raise you, but when it's all said and done, you have to be there and support them as well.
And like people say, it's a deadly cycle. So somebody's got to break the cycle. And everybody always say, well, I want to be different. Well, won't you be that person? You be that different person that's going to break the cycle and say, well, I'm going to be a father. Then that way, your child, if he or she does have a kid, or say if it's a little boy, you have a little boy, then he's going to say, well, my dad was in my life, then I'm going to be in my child's life. And then the cycle gets reversed.
All right, so tell the young men what type of responsibilities come with being a father, because some don't understand. They see it as, well, I have a kid, I'll drop off a bag of Pampers and that's it. What do children really need?
I mean, kids definitely need Pampers and they definitely need money, but they also need that person to go to when, not even for, I ain't even talking about discipline. They just need that person, like I said, when, like, if, you know, when they get older and they play, even when they're younger, they need that person there to hold them, you know, that man's touch. Whether you have a little girl or a little boy, they still need that man's touch. It's just, you know, just being around, even if you're not gonna, even if you and the baby mama, you know, break up or whatever, and you can't be there every day, just phone calls, or you know, I was in a situation like me and my baby mama broke up, but I still went to see my kids every week, or like actually when they were younger, I would have seen them 3 times a week. As they got older, you know, they know, okay, my dad's in my life, so now, you know, I call or I go see them at least once a week, or they come see me. So you just got to be constantly in their life. It's I said, like, you know, like I said, you do the crime, you do the time. It's a minimum 18-year sentence. It's minimum. You gotta say for the next 18 years, I gotta be actively. The key word is actively involved in this person's life. Now, you and the baby mama ain't gonna always agree.
What happens? Okay, let's go to that though. The baby mama drama, because it happens, especially when you're young and you're having kids.
I mean, like, you're not gonna always agree. The thing about it is, you know, every baby mama is different. Some, unfortunately to say, some baby mamas automatic when they had a baby, they going downtown. It doesn't matter. They don't even give you a chance to be a father. So that right there pushes a lot of fathers away too. I mean, my thing is, if you this is what I had to do. I had to convey to her. Like, I don't, you know, she started talking child support. I was like, that's cool. That's cool if that's what you want to do, but I'm going to be involved in this child's life. That's not just because you go apply for child support, what is that really going to do? I mean, that's not going to stop me from being involved in this child's life. If you do or you don't, I'm still going to be involved in this child's life. So I think if you continuously convey that message to that mother that you look, I'm going to be in this child's life. You know, me and you may go through things, but the bottom line is just about what is good for this kid. And sometimes you just have to talk through situations. Because, yeah, they want money for different stuff, and sometimes that has nothing to do with the child. Well, you might not think it has nothing to do with the child, but in the end, it does have something to do with the child. Because my mom had to explain to me, like, I was like, why am I buying this? Why I got to do this, or why I got to do that? And my mom was like, well, if you do this, then this is what's going to happen for that child. The better off the mother is 9 times out of 10, the better off the child is.
Ooh, that's deep because dealing with clients, they always want to know where the money goes and what she's doing with the money and why her hair is done and why her hair is done and why she's spending your money on herself and not the children. Did that type of thought ever cross your mind?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it does. So in that case right there, okay, you could always say, well, okay, well, what does the child need? And you go get it yourself. But a lot of men are lazy. We don't want to go to the store and do the stuff. We don't want to go do such and such. Now, lo and behold, there are some cases where the moms who take the money, get their hair and nails done or whatever. That's cool with me as long as my son or my daughter has done as well too. If you're gonna take the money and do that, then make sure my daughter has done. Make sure that my daughter or my son, he has a haircut and has shoes on their feet. See, the way that I set my situation up from day one, I said, okay, hey, we're not gonna live together. Me and you not gonna work out. Okay, we know that. We know me and you dealing the way we dealing. That's not gonna work out. So the way for me to be involved in this child's life, I said, okay, if I don't want to give you money per se, okay, well let me do this. Let me buy all the clothes. Let me buy all the Pampers. You don't have to worry about that. You worry about everything else. Let me do that. If you want to take them to daycare, let's split that in half. So you gotta learn how to be. Let her be in control of some of the situation, but you can also control the situation as well, because you got just as much right to the child as she do.
So where did you learn all that information about you have as much right to the kids? Because a lot of men don't understand that. And I try to explain, because most of my clients are men, that the law sees you as parents. But they say, well, the court is always going to side with the woman.
That's not true, because you can really, if you want to, I think it's like if you had a kid for more than 145, 50 days, then that's called joint custody. You got her for 3-4 days a week. She got her for 3-4 days a week. A lot of men don't want to do that. So then that's when the child support comes in. But you could go in there and say, okay, I really want to be a joint parent, and I want to be. Well, I forgot the total number. They say, give me my child for 100, and then y'all don't. Then the breakdown on child support is a little different. That's because nobody really has custody. It's really a joint custody situation. And I learned all that because, the things me and my baby mama was going through, and she never put me up for child support because I kept conveying I'm gonna be in the child's life. But my family was so versed in going through the situation cycle that I got versed in it, and my mom taught me some stuff. Met with some lawyers, they taught me some stuff, and every time she used to scream child support, I said, okay. If that's what you want to do, you want to go in there and fight this battle, because I'm not gonna just let you, number one, try to put that on my children like I didn't want to be in their life.
Right.
Because automatically when you say child support, that's what a kid thinks. Or my dad or my mom didn't want to be in my life, so I didn't want that. So I'll say, if you want to go in court and fight this fight, which we don't have to do because we are adults, we can work it out. Then it's gonna be a fight. And then I think she saw like, okay, well, we don't have to go fight this fight because we can work it out on our own. What's in the best interest of our child.
And that typically, I think, is the best way to handle it, is to do it outside of court. And court brings about a whole lot of drama that ends up affecting the kids. So we talked about the fear about, when you were young having kids, and now you're older. What has changed from then to now?
The thing that changed from then to now is maturity. You see that it's not all about money. Like, my baby mothers have grown, and I have a wife now. And, even when we had a kid, I was like, it's still a responsibility. And I think for men, that's the biggest thing is okay, it's another child. The burden is always, if you're an active father, you feel like the burden is always on your shoulder to provide. Okay, I got to provide for this, I got to provide for that. So that's the first thing you think of, I got to provide for somebody else, another person. Right. The wife, the kid, the other kid. So it feels like a burden, but at the same time, it's a blessing because, we don't live in a time zone we can go back So once these kids get to 10, 11 years old, you don't get the little memories of when they 2 and 3 and they come, Daddy, give me a hug. Those are the blessings that you receive. And I mean, I hate to take it to the Bible, but the Bible does says.
Wait a minute, Larry going to the Bible.
Come on now. I keep telling y'all I'm deep in this thing.
All right, go ahead.
And you know, children are a blessing from God. And my mom taught me that. I said, well, God dang, I should have a lot of blessings then. And Lord behold, I do. I mean, you know, so I do. So I think, I think, things that have allowed me to be successful is one thing that I always wanted to take care of my kids. So I always say that's one thing. No matter what, no matter what I achieve in life, that's one thing that has always been in my favor.
So your kids drive you.
Yeah.
So what do you tell guys who are currently not in their kids' lives, but they want to be or they're afraid to be? How do you tell them to get back into the role of being a father?
Just do it. I mean, it's like you wake up in the morning to put your pants on, just do it. Call the baby mama up if you ain't talked to her, like, look, this is what it is. I want to be involved. And depending on how old the kid is, he or she might not want you in their life. And then that's a whole other situation that you got to deal with. But you can't blame nobody but yourself, especially if you decided not to do it in the beginning. But just do it. Stop making excuses and do it.
All right. Anything else you want to add? Let's talk about the joys of being a father. What is it like dealing with your kids on a regular basis?
Oh man, it's crazy because you get to see yourself. Like me, I got 5. I got 4 boys and a girl, and each one of my sons is a different part of me. And then this little girl is a whole nother animal. Like I see parts of me, I see parts of her mama, and then you get to watch them grow from talking to.
All right, so we were talking about the good points of being a father.
And like the best part of my day is when I come home and my little daughter run and say, Daddy, because I never got a chance to do that myself. I never got a chance to run and say, Daddy. So that's like the best part of my day, and it's like she always wait up for me. And like I had to call home and tell her, okay, tell her go to bed because I ain't gonna be home at by the time her bedtime is. And another thing, like if I got a room downstairs and I'm sitting downstairs in my room and she hasn't seen me all day and it's her bedtime, she'll sneak out of bed and be like, Daddy, I just want to say good night. So stuff like that that drives you and keeps you going all the time.
And so how is it dealing with your kids' mothers?
Like I said, like I have an amazing relationship with them because I guess from day one, like we established the fact that I wasn't going anywhere, no matter what. So we have an amazing relationship. Like she called me and like 9 times out of 10, whatever she needs is for the kids, I'm gonna do it. She know that because it's always been like that. And if I couldn't do it, I find a way to do it. Or I mean, like I said, it's not peach cream every day, but for the most part, it's a lot better than other people's situation. So.
Right. And how are your sons?
Oh man, how old are they?
How are they?
Oh, they good. They love it. They call them. They got cell phones now. They to the age where they got cell phones, so they call on their own if they need stuff. Or most time it's not that they need stuff, they want stuff because they got it most of everything they need. So.
And how do you? I think you got teenage sons now.
Yeah.
How do you impart in them not to travel down the road that you travel?
I tell them, hormone jumping. First thing you gotta do, if you think you want to have sex, just think about, okay, you know what your dad and mom have to do to raise y'all. So do you want to do the same thing? Do you want to have to raise somebody else? And most of the time the answer is no. They don't want to have to raise nobody else because they selfish. They want all the money to themselves.
Come talk to me, bro.
Hey, yeah.
I'm putting on the right drive. You don't want that.
You don't want
They
that.
don't want that.
So they're good with not being teenage parents.
Yeah. So they say. I mean, the jury's still out. But, I mean, they've been doing good so far.
The jury's still out.
The jury's still out. It ain't over yet. We're still in the teenage.
All right, anything else you want to add?
Yes, Yasmin is the Grinch that stole family.
Stick your wee-wee
Wee-wee.
in the pee-pee.
In the people.
Then you got to take... Well, in the poo-poo. Yeah. If you don't take your wee-wee in the poo-poo, remember you got to take what come with it. Especially if you go ski-ski.